Good evening. This is Village of Webster Board Workshop, and for October 29th, we're going to change the order, and also that's because there's a great number of people. We have a number of things that are on the agenda for us to deal with here as a board tonight. And in order not to necessarily keep all of you here for any length of time, what we're going to do is we're going to, first of all, we have for item number 3, a retail distribution of cannabis discussion. It was on the docket for the board to discuss this evening. There are a number of people that are here. I believe that it may have gone out, not necessarily by anyone necessarily here on the board, but that there would be this issue brought up for a discussion, and the discussion could include the public. Normally our board meetings that are workshops are not open for discussion. They are simply that, workshops with the board. However, because you are all here, what we've decided is that we will start our program this evening, our meeting, with a discussion of retail distribution of cannabis, and we will allow you to come to the podium. You will have 2 minutes. We will ask that you state your name, your address, and you will have 2 minutes. And clerk will be the timer. At the end of 2 minutes, you've stated what you need to, and if you are here to speak regarding that issue, we'll ask you to sit down. And anyone will continue this until we have gone through anybody who would like to address the board. The issue will be brought up at our board meeting as well with our full board. No decision can or will be made prior to a public hearing. So there will be a lot of further opportunity to present information or present your opinion one way or the other. So that will happen during a formal village board meeting, okay? And most likely that will either occur either on the first or the second meeting of September. But no decision will be made here tonight other than allowing you to speak in that 2-minute period to the board, and we will be taking notes and minutes regarding that, okay? So at this time, I will open the floor Please be respectful in terms of coming up and state your name, your address, and what you wish to address to the board, and you will have 2 minutes to do that. Thank you. The floor is now open.
Good evening. My name is Lexi Popovich. My address is 42 Girard Street, Rochester, New York. I am the director of the Smoking Health Action Coalition of Livingston and Monroe County, and we work in tobacco control. We helped the village board go tobacco-free and vape-free in their parks and grounds recently this year. And I'm just here to reiterate on behalf of our organization and the community and some of our partners on maybe taking a pause and waiting to address this as more dispensaries in other towns and villages begin to have their license, and there's none in Monroe County at this rate. So I think, once you opt in, you can't opt back out. So I think maybe waiting and being more patient and seeing kind of what goes on around the community and with different towns and villages would be important. We also want to reiterate about the on-site consumption lounges, and the importance of safety on the roads and what that means and what that could look like for users who are using these products on those on-site consumption lounges and then getting in a vehicle and driving, and how that will be addressed in the village, most importantly in terms of safety for everyone on the roadways. So I think that part of it is very important, and I also think that what we do in the community and what we're advocating for health and safety should be addressed also when making these decisions, especially for the youth in the community. And I think that our organization really likes to hone in on the importance of waiting and seeing what other villages and towns are doing, so you can make a more definitive decision on time, place, and manner, and what that kind of would look like in terms of the regulations and zoning that will happen here in the village, and how that can be used more public opinion, and what the village and public, the community input would look like as well. So I think it's important to get more input on what the public wants in terms of time, place, and manner as well. So just waiting on that and hopefully seeing what that looks like in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Salvatore D'Amico. I live at 119 East Ave, East Rochester, New York, and I work at 205 North Ave, Webster, right in the village over here. I'm a car dealer and a registered importer, and I'm planning on hopefully persuading the board to opt into having a retail dispensary. And my goal is to offer a safe, reliable source of product to the community, and you have to be an adult, you have to be 21 years or older to buy this product. And it's highly regulated from seed to sale, and I understand the concerns about on-site consumption and lounges, but there's two parts to opting in. There's opting into a retail dispensary and a lounge. And the state does not have any rollout for our lounges, and there would be no on-site consumption or lounge at this location. And as far as kids, I'm an advocate of making sure kids don't have access to this. So that's going to be strongly enforced at our location. And I was approved by the state, one of 19 in Finger Lakes, to get this license based on my past and how I grew up. And I think having a safe, reliable source of cannabis is I think the positives outweigh the negatives. So I just, if you guys have any questions or anything, I'm more than happy to answer directly or indirectly, and I have all my information as well. So I just want to, and I grew up here too. I grew up, my family's on the property in the village of Webster. I grew up on Donovan Street, working there as a young kid, riding bikes around there, hanging around the neighborhood. So, this is my home, and I'd like it to be here rather than another town or village. And we have the opportunity to be at the forefront. You guys can all collaborate together to decide what's best and to roll this out, because it's legal. The state legalized it, and whether you guys make a decision now or 2 years from now, it's still going to happen. And delivery service will roll out in these other towns and villages, and they'll deliver to Webster. So that's not going to stop it, even if you opted out. So why not have it by a Rochester native, born and raised in Rochester. So thank you guys for your time.
Okay. We'll be done, sure.
Good evening. My name is Katie DeSalvo. My address is 805 Houston Road. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I've worked in the field of addiction for 10 plus years. And I'm the program director of prevention services at Delphi Rise, which is a chemical dependency treatment center in Rochester, New York. I sent the board a report that hopefully you have been able to look through and look at some of this was a national report done by a nonprofit organization to assess the impacts of legalization nationally, and I just wanted to highlight some of those facts below. I will say that my agency, Delphi Rise, contracts with the Webster School District to already address the growing substance use problems that we are seeing amongst adolescents here in this town. So this is a public health issue, and while this is going to happen all around us, we can prevent what happens in our community and do our best to take preventative measures to address that. So a couple things that I wanted to highlight from the report, and I won't be redundant in case you read it, but some of the things that we are concerned about is not necessarily just the sales to young people, which we know happen in legalized states, but the increased illegal sales that come out of a dispensary being in business. We also worry about how young people can get a hold of these products with an older sibling or a parent. And we have seen that, unfortunately, the cannabis calls to the Poison Control Center in other states have grown exponentially. And in Massachusetts, they went up 586%. So even though someone may be obtaining it legally, we know that a lot of products look attractive to young people, and they're more apt to use them not knowing what they are, especially if they're not secured properly. The other thing that I wanted to note is that young people, teenagers who are using, 48.8% of them do not see any risk in driving while under the influence of marijuana, and they report driving while under the influence of marijuana. So that's definitely a concern in our community if we have a low perceived risk and then higher incidence of use. And we're also worried about the high potency. So unfortunately, we're not talking about the marijuana that was around 30 years ago. Potency levels have risen to a degree that are dangerous, and we're seeing 4 times as many cases of psychosis in young people who are using cannabis recreationally. So these are just a few of the things in the report that I thought were worthy of notating here in this room, but I hope you will take a moment to read through it and see how this is impacting us nationally. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Dave Whitlock, 76 Corning Park. My wife and I have been on the street right over here for more than 50 years. And one thought that I had was with a community like Rochester, Monroe County, and the University of Rochester, I gotta believe that there are some people that can share a lot of details about it. You can go online, there's a good report, which I'm going to give the Secretary one copy from the National Institute on Drug Abuse, and apparently marijuana does affect driving abilities. Thank you.
evening. I'm Tracy Sigafus. I worked in Webster my whole life at Xerox. I live at 15 Brighton Park in Webster. I grew up here, graduated from Schrader. I have 3 kids that all graduated here. And I can tell you from me as a mother, I would much rather, I can't control my kids, whether they do this or not. They're gonna do it with or without my permission. And I can't control what they do. They're over 21. I can't control it. I don't smoke marijuana myself. But kids go away to college, you lose control. It's a legal thing. It's not like what it was when we were young. It's legal in the state. I would much rather my kids go somewhere and not in the city buying it for some drug dealer that's gonna have fentanyl and they're gonna die. I mean, I'd much rather them go somewhere here in Webster, stay in our safe town, do something that's legal, and I know they're gonna come home and be alive. So as a mom, I would much rather them stay here than go into the city and buy something that's not controlled. Thank you.
Anybody else?
My name is Glenna Colapretti, and I live at 440 Sundance Trail. My family's been in Webster since I can remember. The Brushes settled here in farms and stores. And if my 103-year-old grandmother could use CBD and ask if that was cannabis and how it helped her arthritis, then she got past the stigma as far as what it is and what it really means. I understand everything that everyone's saying. I personally do not imbibe, but I support that people should be able to, just like whether they want a shot of whiskey or a glass of wine, but they need to buy it from an established environment that has a license, that's clean, that's tested, that revenue and it's traced and tracked, and kids are not walking into a liquor store purchasing products that I've seen around Webster. There's much more impact as far as opioids to devastation for kids. There are facts as far as the state and across the nation that opioid reduction goes down where cannabis is legalized, that property values increase by 7% within a half a mile of dispensary, and they're not using it at the dispensary. They're buying it in a package that is child resistant. They take it home and they imbibe in their own space in a child resistant package to mitigate the opportunity for children to have access to it. The state has rolled out significant programs to diminish, the attractiveness of the package. There's no cartoons, there's no neon signs, neon colors. They're trying to mitigate the attractiveness of that package, just like they do with liquor. I am a patented engineer. I worked for Verizon headquarters for 20 years. I developed significant nerve damage, and that's how I grew Glenna's CBD to help my own pain. I then received a license from the state to grow cannabis. So I am currently a licensed grower and cultivator. I'm also a licensed processor, and I invite any of you to come to my farm and tour and see how stringent the seed to sale tracking is. Last point I'll make is that I understand the potency, I understand that conversation, but a lot of the money realized from the sale of cannabis is going to come back to the village, a significant amount of taxes, and money is assigned directly to drug rehabilitation programs, community programs, daycare is a significant element to really help the community heal from the war on drugs. I also, last point, you're right, it's legal. People can buy it, they can deliver it. They're delivering it right now to Webster. In 2 weeks, a dispensary is opening on East Ave. You may miss out on the opportunities to get the limited licenses that were rolled out in the Finger Lakes. So any questions, please reach out to me. I'm also a professor at Finger Lakes Community College. I teach regulations of cannabis cultivation. I can assure you, we're a very regulated business. So thank you for your time.
I'm Kathy Whitlock, the other half of Dave. I do live at 76 Corning Park in the village of Webster. I realize that marijuana is legal, but making it legal does not make it safe for everyone. My concern, even though I know you have to be 21 to buy it legally, my concern is that it is within walking distance of a middle school, of Spry. Living in Corning Park, we often see kids walking down to the village. I just feel that as a village, as a community, taking care of our young people in a safe way and not subjecting them to some of these things, if we have the opportunity not to suggest them, submit them to it, is something that we as a community really, really need to do. So I urge you to think beyond the money that you might get from the taxes and think about what it is we want for our young people. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Wendy McVeigh. I live at 333 Hartsville Lane, Webster. I work for the Webster Methodist Church as the Director of Family Ministries. But I'm speaking to you tonight as a mother. Sorry about that. And as somebody that works with teenagers. Even if the cannabis that's sold here in the village is legal and safe and only sold to adults, the perception that young people have is that any marijuana product they get their hands on is safe. And oftentimes it's not. I have witnessed teenagers have overdoses after taking a cannabis product that they thought was legal and safe. And as a mother, I am asking you to please look at the research and the statistics involving young people. And I am asking that you would help me not witness another overdose in our town. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Janine Sanger. I live at 822 Tinker Tavern Road in Webster. I'm the Executive Director of the Webster Health and Education Network, and we are a community coalition comprised of about 70 members representing all sectors of our community. Our goal as a community coalition is to stave off first use of drugs and alcohol by young people as long as possible. By doing that, we hope to them avoid addiction later in life. So I think about the complexion of our town. I think about the optics of having a dispensary in our village and what that looks like to kids. And I'm going to repeat some of the things you've already heard. We talk about risk and protective factors, and as a coalition, as a community, as a school district, our goal is to increase protective factors, decrease risk factors because the more protective factors one has, the less likely it is they'll engage in risky behaviors, plain and simple. Environmental factors that are risk factors includes easy access to nicotine, alcohol, or drugs, more frequent exposure to popular culture and advertising that encourage substance use. They all contribute to risk factors and what our kids' perceptions are about use. So by having a dispensary, by allowing a dispensary to open in our village, we are increasing those risk factors for our children and our citizens. I appreciate that the packaging is being changed so that it is not as desirable to a child. I don't know how accurate that is at present time. I'm hoping that that comes to fruition because from what I can see, those products are very enticing to children and they're dangerous. I'm probably certain that you won't be only offering smokable products, that you'll be offering edibles and gummies and things of that nature. Those are very concerning to me. As the last speaker said, Kids are attracted to that. They take one, it doesn't work for a while. They take another because they're not feeling anything. Then they take another and they overdose. And that is very, very frightening, obviously. So I'm asking you to take your time, consider this very thoughtfully, really weigh the amount of revenue that you will realize as a village, and will that revenue offset the cost that our young people and our families will experience? Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tom McEwen. I live at 1217 Wildflower Drive, right over here off of 250. I love Webster. I have lived here my whole life. My wife and I recently moved back here. It's a great place to be. I have some incredible memories with friends and family all over the place around here. And what I want to bring up that I've heard a lot today is the word safe. I went to Willink, I went to Thomas. There's a long list of peers and individuals that I have witnessed going to downtown Rochester to purchase marijuana. There are some very sketchy and scary encounters and stories that I have heard about these individuals trying to obtain marijuana. I personally do not use marijuana. I know a lot of friends that do, and at the end of the day, if someone really wants to get a hold on marijuana, they are going to get a hold on it. So why would we not want a safe place for it right here in the village of Webster, where the chances of encountering and having a violent interaction are so much less and it's so much more slim. So I would just like to say to the board, having it here, it's a good source of revenue and it offers a safer outlet for someone to acquire marijuana. And my final point, speaking of edibles and different things like that, and Jello shots and different things like that. Again, I have been at parties and at events where those things are being made, and they're being made by the homeowner. They're being made by the person hosting the party. They're not consistent. Sometimes there's nothing in it. Sometimes they're extremely strong. They're not regulated. When something is regulated, when it comes in a certain amount at a certain dosage, you know, you learn how much is in that. There's too much unknown. There's too much variability when you're relying on someone outside of a regulation deploying and distributing that product. Thank you.
My name is Rick Ledoux, and I live at 1305 Cardinal Lane in Webster, and I'm the pastor of the Webster Methodist Church, but I'm not here speaking on behalf of the church, although I think most of the folks in our church would be concerned about the opening of a business selling cannabis. The spiritual concern is that, you know, we're providing another opportunity for people to escape from God's best for their lives, and so we would discourage that in our community. But at the very least, I would hope the board would, at the very least, wait until more research is out there on what is happening in our state since the legalization. Just because it's legal doesn't make it right, and the research I've seen from some of the other states preceding New York are showing increases in psychosis and mental illness and even violence. And so I would like to see more research on how it impacts New York and our community before the board would make a decision to open up something like that here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Dan Rule. I live at 219 London Road in the Village. I love Webster. I love the upswing the Village has been on in recent years. And with all of that, I think there's some great points that have been brought up here tonight. I agree that people should practice caution driving while their ability is impaired, whether it's marijuana, whether it's alcohol, whatever it might be. However, we're all adults. Everyone has that discretion. They make that decision. I understand that adolescents may have access to marijuana. Adolescents will always have access to marijuana. They will find it one way or another. I understand there's concern with the product that they may be consuming. Wouldn't it be important to have them have more readily access to safer products? I'm not saying we want our kids to be using it. I'm saying children will find a way, but this isn't for kids. This is for adults. And this is something that can benefit the town. And I'd really like everyone to understand that there will always be risks. Kids will always be kids. And we should be thinking about the bigger picture and how this can benefit the town. We can always have an understanding of what the risks are. We will always want to be focusing on our kids. But I don't know how much stake that has in this conversation as far as what we're looking to do, as far as what this could mean for the town of Webster, based on everything the state is doing and based on what is going on in Rochester at the moment, whether it's the suburbs, whether it's the city, all of that. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the open forum here, and thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I walked too fast. Good evening, Matt Chatfield, 62 Park Avenue, right here in the village. I'm going to keep my comments brief. I want to start by saying that I don't believe there's any need for the board to rush into making a decision about the time, place, and manner of particular use in the village of Webster. That being said, it may come to fruition in the future. But I want to say that by voting to opt out in December, there was reasons that each of you voted to opt out. It was a unanimous decision from what I was told 8 months ago. And I would ask, what new information do you have today that you didn't have 8 months ago? What was it 8 months ago that made you vote to say, no, we're going to opt out and wait? There hasn't been a single retail dispensary, to my knowledge, that's really even opened up. Everybody's saying, let's get on the forefront of this. You should be right at the opening gate. 8 months ago, you said, we don't need to be at the forefront. I want to ask you, for each of you to say to yourselves, what changed, right? What new information do you have today that you didn't have then? And also, I want you to not consider this to be an economic decision. The math that I am running based on suggested sales volumes doesn't even come close to equating what's being proposed. So this is not an economic windfall for the community. That's not the purpose of this policy decision. The purpose of this policy decision is at the appropriate time, place, and manner for this particular use. That's the weighty decision that you need to make, and that's what I want you to focus on. Thank you.
My name's Carl Holland. I live at 95 Hefner Drive in the village, 47-year resident of the village. And I just wanted to register my opposition to changing the decision that was made previously. I think the character of the village, I just don't think cannabis dispensary would be a good fit. I think it gives a different feel. There's been some argument that, it's rather better to have it here than for somebody to go into another city or neighborhood to buy the product. That works both ways. I could attract people here to purchase the product that we may not want, so just want to put my vote in for staying with the decision that was made.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Peter D'Amico. I own the building at 205 North Avenue with my brother and my family. We've lived here for 50 years, over 50 years, since the 60s, and I went to Schrader. There is other places you can buy marijuana right now, 2 or 3. You could go buy it. Nobody's bothered them. Nobody's stopped them. So why should we sell it legally? Why should we get the 120 to 160,000 a year? Don't we need the money for the sewers? Doesn't the village need money? It's gonna come sooner or later, so let's get the money now before everybody has money and it's gonna go down. So that's my feelings. So you should consider that. Thank you. Oh, I got one more comment. I've been in that spot there for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. I have never seen kids walk by there in the 30, 40 years I've been there. It's too far down. They walk in the village, they don't walk down North Avenue.
Hi, my name is Christina Spezio. I live at 1217 Wildflower Drive. And I'd like to speak about why I believe there should be a dispensary here in Webster. So I do take edibles, I do smoke weed, it helps me a lot with my anxiety, my depression, all of these things that it helps me overcome on a daily basis. I think that as I'm growing older, I'm going to have my family one day, hopefully soon. I'd like to teach my children the benefits of it and how to use it safely. I don't want them to be going and getting it somewhere else that, could be laced with something else. What if it has no weight in it? They can't control that, but this dispensary seems like it could. I'd also like to point out there are other places in the village, like other smoke shops that I'd like to see the statistics of children going there and buying it, since that seems to be the common topic here, is how this impacts children. But again, knowing that this building would be near Pub 235, I don't necessarily see how kids can go from Spry all the way down there and back up. It just seems unlikely to me, maybe after school, but again, it's very far. But at the end of the day, it would help me personally. I know there's many other people here who would help them medically, and so I'm a firm believer that it should be here. Thank you.
What was your address? I'm sorry.
1217 Wildflower Drive.
Thank you.
Peter D'Amico, 705 Webster Road. Just wanted to know, or let everyone know, it's 21 or older to buy this product. It's just like a liquor store. If you've got liquor in your cabinets and your kids want to drink your liquor, they're going to get that. If you have marijuana in the house and your kids want to get your marijuana, I mean, I don't see anyone stopping it, but you have to be 21 or older. You can't consume this product at the store to buy it. And it's going to help the community and bring taxes back to the community, and it's going to bring more money to be able to, like everyone was saying, for help drug abuse and stuff like that. And yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Can I make one comment? Actually, a question. Is that all right?
You're addressing the question to the board?
Yeah, to the board.
We won't answer you. But you could address it.
Well, I wanted to ask you a question directly. I was just curious if you had contact with this organization when to petition against opening a retail dispensary.
If I had contact with
Yeah,
them?
if you had contact in organizing a petition against a retail dispensary at the old Tinker Rental building with a potential...
I had no part in organizing any petition against you.
You were in contact with the organization called when?
I've been in contact with a number of people and organizations, but I did not encourage any kind of, petition.
Oh,
Okay.
Thank you.
Just as a point of clarification, Matt, I know time flies, but the opt-out local law was adopted December 9th of 2021, not 2022.
Okay.
So it's much more than, it's 20 months, not 8 months.
my question to the board is okay. What new information do you have?
Anyone else? If not, then I will close the public comment portion of the meeting. A lot of information has been presented. The board has had discussions and also has information that we have received from both sides, and we will be considering that. There are two other members, and as I have stated, we will have a public referendum. A public hearing. We can't have a referendum. And that will be announced, and it will be either the first or the second meeting in September. Okay. All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate your coming and comments to the board. Thank you. You don't have to leave if you don't want. Great. Great crowd. We have a lot of important things yet to go.
May I ask a quick question about the public comments that we need
See you guys later.
Bye.
Thanks, good.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Oh, you too. Nice to see you.
I know, it wasn't you. Thank you.
Bye. Good to see you.